Curtius calls the area at the confluence of the Punjabi rivers Sambrakot or Sabraka, and Diodorus Sambasta. And in these names we have the case of the Greek replacement of the letter Rho with Mim, which is general phenomenon. In Curtius' form it should be Sarbarka, and in Diodorus Sarbasta. Cunningham believes that the tribe mentioned under the name Ossadi at the mouth of the river, and which came to Alexander during his conquests, is from the same people. He thinks the same about the tribe named Abastani, east of the river Ravi, where he conquered Alexander's great general Perdica. At the mouth of the river he mentions places called Ludan and Lodran. These Sambasta or Sarbasta were the second strongest nation in India and had an army of 60,000 infantry, 6,000 cavalry and 500 chariots. From the mouth of the Punjab river, Alexander descended across the Indus to Sodra or Sogda tribe. Arian calls them Sogdi and Diodorus Sodri and Masanya. In the area of Sodra, Alexander built one Alexandria and settled 10,000 inhabitants into it. It seems strange that Curtius describes these people but not mention their name. Ptolemy mentions Diodorus Massana as Musarena, and their name has been preserved in the name of Muzarka, which is the region west of Indus River. Cunningham says that Hussein Shah Argun conquered people of this region in 1525, and that then the dead people is mentioned under the name of Seorai. They had one large fortress, which was most probably in the modern village of Sirvahi. Alexander appointed a certain Sabus as the manager of Indian mountaineers, whose capital was Sindomana, modern Sekhwan. These Sabus, as Curtius calls him, rebelled, and Alexander had to subdue him by force. Arian calls him Sambos, which is Sarbos. Cunningham says that Sekhwan is abbreviated Sevistan, so named after its inhabitants who were called Sevis or Sabis. Arab geographers wrote this name as Sadustan, Sadusan or Sharusan, which is in the Greek Sandomana. The most famous place in Buddhist chronicles is the town of Sravasti on the upper reaches of the Repti River in central India. The town of Sravasti is said to have been built by Raja Sravasti's son of Yuvanasva, the son of the sun race, who was the 10th descendant of Suri. Regarding the name Begram, Cunningham says that it was given to the following cities: Kabul, Jalalabad, and Peshawar. In Indian, Gram is the city, which means that Begram in Afghanistan is Old Karsana, says Cunningham. Several cities in Iran and Afghanistan had Serbian names, such as Verdastana, a city of Verdan tribes, Vardusha, Paladeri, Rajavara, Bactra, Varana, Aorno, and Nisa, Nagara. He says that the river Chenab, Cunningham, was called Chandrabaga or Sandrabaga or Sandobog. There was a desert on that river called Sandarbar. The name of the river Sandrabaga was changed by the Greeks to Sandropophagos or Sandojder, turned into Sandobog. Baga or God is the same name and differentiates only in relation to the dialect in which it is pronounced. In the sense of the name Sandobog, it is a letter neti. If instead the word maim, then the name would be read as Sardobog, which was most likely the real name of this river. On Chenab there was a town called Kashtvar, and then south of it Badvar. Two other Varas are mentioned, Barmavar and Kusavar. One hilly area in Punjab is mentioned under the name of Ruma. Ruma is the old Serbian name for the city of Rome, and even today there is a city in northern Serbia called Ruma. Singapore was also called Keta or Heta. It is the only carts of Ketas or Hetas. which the people visit from all over India. The white robes of priests are called Svetavas. For Kati or Hatti from Sangala say that they destroyed insufficiently healthy children and that they are the ones under the name Sofita is described by the famous beauty. William Hutri writes that in Serbian kingdom in Serbia, the largest province was called Dunaj. Studying the names of various names of ancient Serbia, we came across the name Pukalaoti, which is Greek Peukalaotis. She cracked the tongue of the fallen Greek Peukali. Greek writers often mentioned Peuki, Peukelas, and Peukalotis as Serbian place names and personal names in Europe. The island of Peuke in the Danube and Peukelas, personal name in Macedonia. We now see that it is Serbian word Puk or Polk from which these names originated. Another discovery is also the information from Cunningham that the city of Nilab was a very important city that gave its name to the Indus River. This proves that the original Aryan name for the Indus River was Nile, as well as the Nile in Egypt, and that is the transfer of the name of Nile River from Asia Minor in both of the cases. Ind is Sind, since the initial letter Sima was removed. The name Sind was given to many rivers and even seas, such as the Adriatic Sea, which was also called the Blue Sea. From Sind in Sanskrit became Hind and Ind. The change of letter Sima to Horus is a general phenomenon in a transition from Sanskrit to Zend and modern Persian. We have already talked about the main gods of the Aryans, so now we will only add a little to the Aryan mythology. 8 gods, guardians of the world and rulers of the world, left a memory in Serbian language in a form of measurements. 8 of 8 measuring units. They were Surya is the sun, Kandra is the moon, Vayu is the wind, Agni is the fire, Yama is the underworld and death, Varuna is the ruler, Indra is the thunderbolt and rainforest, and Kubera is the deity of wealth. The Trinity consists in later times not from the beginning of Brahman, Vishnu and Shiva. Vishnu is also a deity of the sun. Brahmanical Herod consists of 3 principles: Sattva, goddess, Raja, kindness and darkness, darkness. Sattva, goodness, Raja, kindness, and Tama, dark, or darkness. From these 3 principles, 5 basic ingredients emerge: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. They had a legend about a flood in which Vishnu saved King Manu. King Manu, or Mane, is the ancestor of the human race and legislator. Svarga, better known in Europe as Svarog, is the guardian of paradise on Mary Mountain as a holy mountain of the habitat of the gods. Savitar is the deity who oversees the regularity of the course of time, day and night. The name of this deity remained in Serbian language in the world of Svitati or Svanuće. The deity Ida is a patron of the virtues of need and reward for sacrifice, and he is the one who returned to King Manu the future and his flocks. In Crete and Troy, there were mountains named Ida, which were considered the seat of the gods. The name of the god Ida remained in Serbian language in a word and concept of idea and ideology. There was a famous temple of the sun god in the city of Multan. The right of the sun god has been held in it until today. Tradition says that the temple was founded by Samba, son of Krishna. Another name for Multan was Bhagapura, meaning Bogovar. The Hindus called the people of Punjab Bahik, that is, the people of Bak, and Arata, which means the people of god of war, the people of Areta. The name Arya became future of the upper class, but it did not have this name from the beginning of that meaning. Aryama is the companion, a partner, a comrade. The Aryans in India called themselves Serbs as a people. In Got Avestan, Iran, three social classes are presented: clerical, warrior, and farming. The priest is called Ataurva, similar to Veda's Atharva. The warrior classes consist of Rataesta, which is Ratasta in Vedas. As for the language of the Aryans from Serbia, it is undoubtedly the ancient Serbian language. Here is just one example of the family members and their role as explained by Henry Darboux de Jubenville.